As I said, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act is a complex act. Initially, I found it very difficult to understand how this act will work. When we were on the verge of becoming a member of FATF, we were obliged to amend the act, and we did so. And I recall the many discussions I've had with other finance ministers of the world as well as the officers of the FATF before we amended the PMLA. The PMLA rests on the principle of a predicate crime. And then it makes an offense anything that has to do with the proceeds of crime. Initially, it was thought that if the accused was acquitted of the predicate crime, there could be no offense under the money laundering law. But in recent years, that thinking seems to have changed. Even if you are acquitted in a trial of the predicate crime, it's possible that you could be convicted of an offense under money laundering. Now, this is, of course, a very technical area. On careful reflection, I'm inclined to agree that the present position is the correct position. That one could be acquitted of the predicate crime for a variety of reasons. Lack of evidence, inability to prove the crime beyond reasonable doubt, or giving the benefit of doubt to the accused. But one could still establish that the proceeds of that crime have been laundered, attracting the provisions of the Money Laundering Act. So once we have a good idea of what the nature of money laundering crime is, the next difficulty arises because almost all crimes will throw up some proceeds of a crime. Theft, breach of trust, misappropriation, cheating. You look at crimes with which we are familiar, all these crimes are more likely to throw up some proceeds of a crime. And anyone dealing with those proceeds of a crime would immediately attract the money laundering law. Therefore, a word of caution is necessary. We must be extremely selective in deciding which cases to prosecute under the money laundering law. Otherwise, we will be overwhelmed with cases, a number of cases that we are required to prosecute. And after the amendment, there is no minimum threshold either. So my first suggestion to the Directorate of Enforcement is to be extremely careful in picking the cases and choosing the cases which have to be prosecuted under the money laundering law, in addition to being prosecuted for the predicate crime of cheating or theft or misappropriation or breach of trust or similar crimes. Otherwise, you'll be overwhelmed by the number of cases that attract the money laundering law.